Okay, I'd like to call the regular council meeting to order for November 14, 2016. Mr. Spagna, would you please call the roll?
Colella.
Here.
Council Magno. Here. Dixon. Gibbons.
Here.
Hannon.
Present.
Harrison.
Present.
McLean.
Here.
Mowry.
Here.
Orion.
Present.
Is present.
We have 8 members present. At this time, can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Okay, we have one chair announcement. We had executive session of council tonight, November 14, 2016. Before we came out, I apologize for running a little bit late on personnel issue in legal matters. Before we go to the reports of the officials, last month we appointed a new member of council in Ward 1, and I'd like to welcome Mr. Consul Magno.
Thank you, Mr. Maurer.
Would you like to tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I've been a resident of Bethel Park for over 30 years. I have a lovely wife, Alexis, and 2 children, Joseph and Marissa. And here to serve the people and the residents of Ward 1. And here for them.
Thank you very much and welcome. We'll be nice to you for the first week. That expired last week, just for the record.
I appreciate that.
Thank you. This time I'd like to turn to the reports of the officials. We'll go to the police chief's report and Chief O'Connor.
Good evening, Council. Good evening, everyone. Chief O'Connor. First of all, on behalf of the department, I want to wish everyone that they have a safe Thanksgiving holiday. Our crime watch is coming up again. It'll be Monday, the 5th of December, 6:30 at the community center. All are invited. Come and learn about what's going on in the department and crime within Bethel Park. We had a very good turnout in November to see Canine G's, and we hope to have a good turnout again in December. You can follow us on Facebook. We have been successful the past week in reuniting some owners with lost and missing dogs. We also have breaking news when it is happening. We'll put it up there, so if you follow Facebook, you'll be able to stay in touch with what's going on. Finally, I would like everyone to please remember in their thoughts and prayers the officers from the Cannonsburg tragedy of last week, and please join in me in wishing that all police officers across America go home safe tonight at the end of their shift. Thank you. Questions?
Thank you from council. Hearing none. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
We turn to the fire chief's report.
Good evening. My name is Bob Brown. I'm the Assistant Fire Chief at the Bethel Park Volunteer Fire Company. I'm here to give you the report for the month of October, but before I get to that, just 2 or 3 items that the Chief wanted me to relay to everybody this evening. We currently have a fundraiser that's going on that benefits the fire company. You can go online to origamiOwl.com. And actually, we're going to post that link on our Facebook page tonight, so you can go to that and see it there. There's a promo code of 320778 that if you enter that in, that's going to benefit the fire department, and we'll get 20% of all sales if you enter that promo code in. So any of the residents out there, the ones here tonight, again, if you go to our Facebook page, that's where you can find the information on the fundraiser. An item about some recreational fire safety. Remember, if you have a wreck fire, we want you to clean up after it. Part of that cleanup is to make sure you wet it down completely. If you're going to put it in any type of container, we'd prefer that you put it in some type of metal container. And the best place to leave that is outside. Don't place that inside anywhere or up against anything outside. And the last item is the holidays will be coming up here shortly. As Chief O'Connor said, we'd like to wish everybody also a very happy Thanksgiving holiday. Shortly following after that will be the Christmas season, and comes with that is Christmas life safety. The upcoming Chronicles will have a good article about Christmas light safety. We urge everybody to read. Just a couple items. Make sure all your extension cords and your electrical decorations, the ones you use for outdoors, make sure they're rated for outdoors. You don't want to use any indoor lights for outdoor lighting. You want to match your power cords, the strength or the amperage they call it, with the items you're going to be using with the cords. You don't want to overload your cords. Be sure to inspect all your lights, your decorations, make sure there's no fraying, they're not damaged from last year. If they are, just dispose of them, get some new ones. You want to be sure to keep all your extension cords, your light strings, anything outside. You want to try to keep the snow away from it. Don't have it in any type of standing water. And lastly, if you're leaving the house or you're going away for the evening or going to bed in the evening, it's a good practice to turn all your lights off at that time. And the last item is going to be the fire report for the month of October. During October, we did respond to 40 calls. It was a somewhat busy month for us. We had 3 building fires, 1 cooking fire, 1 mulch fire, 1 vehicle fire, 1 gas leak, 4 electrical conditions, 5 good intent calls, 3 smoke investigation calls, 6 CO alarms, and 15 fire alarms we responded to in the month of October. And just an item of interest, through the end of October of this year, 2016, the fire company has responded to 364 calls. And that is my report, unless there's any questions from anybody.
Any questions? Hearing none, thank you very much. The mayor isn't here this evening, but he asked me to pass along that Light Up Night will be held on Wednesday, November 30th at 6:45 at the community center. So all are invited to attend, and we will have a special guest there that night. So Mayor Allen asked me to pass that along to everybody. Once again, Wednesday, November 30th at 6:45 p.m. Okay, at this time, I would like to turn to the approval of the minutes, and Mr. Hannon.
The first item is the regular council meeting of October 10th. I move that we approve the regular council meeting minutes of October 10th, 2016.
Second.
There is a motion and a second that we approve the regular council meeting minutes of October 10th, 2016. Any discussion of this item? Mr. Spagno, would you please call the roll?
Colella,
Yes.
Counsel Magno,
Yes.
Gibbons,
Yes.
Hannon,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
McLean,
Yes.
Maury,
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Mr. Hannon.
Second set of minutes is the public hearing, Bethel Park Properties rezoning Library Road, application number 2016-0308, September 26th, 2016. I move that we approve the public hearing minutes of September 26, 2016, Bethel Park Properties rezoning Library Road, application number 2016-0308.
There is a motion and second that we approve the public hearing minutes of September 26, 2016, Bethel Park Properties, rezoning Library Road, application number 2016-0308. Any discussion of this item? Mr. Spagno, would you please call the roll?
Counsel Magno,
Yes.
Gibbons,
Yes.
Hannon,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
McLean,
Yes.
Maury,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Colella.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Mr. Hannon.
The third is the public hearing of for the 2017 municipal budget. I move that we approve the public hearing minutes of October 24th, 2016, the 2017 municipal budget.
Second.
There is a motion and a second that we approve the public hearing minutes of October 24th, 2016, the 2017 municipal budget. Any discussion on this item? Mr. Spagno, would you please call the roll?
Gibbons,
Yes.
Hannon,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
McLean,
Yes.
Maury,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Colella,
Yes.
Counsel Magno.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. At this time, I'd like to turn to the approval of the bills and payrolls, and Mr. Hannon.
I move that we approve the bills and payrolls of municipality per bill list number 111416 in the amount of $1,634,657.81.
Second.
There is a motion and a second that we approve the bills and payrolls for the municipality per bill list number 111416 in the amount of $1,634,657.81. Any discussion of this item? Mr. Spagno, would you please call the roll?
Hannon,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
McLean,
Yes.
Maury,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Colella,
Yes.
Council Magno,
Yes.
Gibbons.
Yes.
8-0.
Motion passes 8-0. At this time, I'd like to turn to the public comment section for non-agenda items. Hearing none, can we turn to general policy and finance and Mr. McLean? And we have no residents signed up to speak.
Thank you, Mr. President. First item on the agenda under General Policy and Finance is the ordinance for year 2017 budget. I move that we approve the ordinance enacting the year 2017 budget for the municipality of Bethel Park.
Second.
There is a motion and a second that we approve the ordinance enacting the year 2017 budget for the municipality of Bethel Park. Any discussion of this item? Just for the record, there will be no tax increase to fund the 2017 budget. And the one major project we will be doing is a new public works facility. So the bond issue's been done and all the payments have been covered. So there are no, the millage rate will be staying the same as we'll be adopting that next. Any other discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Spagnol, would you please call the roll?
Harrison,
Yes.
McLean,
Yes.
Maury,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Colella,
Yes.
Council Magno,
Yes.
Gibbons,
Yes.
Hannon.
Yes.
8-0.
Motion passes 8-0. Mr. McLean.
Next item is the ordinance for the tax rate for fiscal year 2017. I move that we approve the ordinance setting the 2017 tax rate for general purposes, the sum of 2 1900ths, 2.19 mils on each dollar of assessed valuation for municipal purposes, and 3400ths, 0.34 mils on each dollar of assessed valuation for the provisions of funding to Bethel Park Volunteer Fire Company and costs associated with the same.
Second.
There's a motion and a second that we approve the ordinance setting the 2017 tax rate for general purpose, the sum of 2 1900ths, 2.19 mils on each dollar of assessed valuation for municipal purposes, and 3400ths, 0.34 mils on each dollar of assessed valuation for the provision of funding to the Bethel Park Volunteer Fire Company and cost associated with the same. Any discussion of this item? Mr. Spagnol, would you please call the roll?
McLean,
Yes.
Maury,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Colella,
Yes.
Council Magno,
Yes.
Gibbons,
Yes.
Hannon,
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Mr. McLean,
No more agenda items.
are
Mr.
there any
President?
additional items?
Mr. Murray,
Mr. Harrison.
I made the overt decision to not speak to the item that I speak to at every meeting, and that is the fire company ballot question. I was told that, and particularly by Mr. O'Brien, very persistently said, it's over, it's gone, it's done with, keep quiet. So I decided not to speak to it at the October meeting. And Mr. Murray couldn't let it go. He went through the same litany that they go through all the time, that our super lawyer McTiernan said it was okay, the election bureau lawyer said it was okay. But I refuse to let the public be misled on this, because the Home Rule Charter, anybody who wants to read the Home Rule Charter knows that an ordinance is not effective for at least 30 days after it's passed. And Mr. McTiernan hand-carried a letter to the Election Bureau transmitting the ordinance 3 days after it was passed, 27 days before it becomes effective. And I talked to the election director. They had every reason to believe that when our lawyer gives them an ordinance, that they have no reason to think it's not effective. But in fact, it was not. And I just think that the public ought to understand that this council and the reason Mr. McTiernan took the ordinance down 3 days afterwards is because if he had not delivered the ordinance until the time it become effective, then according to the Election Bureau rules, the question would not have gone on the ballot. The other thing, a councilman at the dais here is also a lawyer, and he implicitly agreed that an ineffective ordinance was delivered because he said, well, that's okay because the day the vote was taken at the polling place, it had long since become effective. And I just feel that we shouldn't have to believe that the municipality did anything except violate the home rule charter. And I don't know anything to do about it except just keep reminding people of that. And hopefully they won't be so brazen as to do it in the future. Thank you.
My only comment is none of what he said is true. Any other items? Okay, at this time, can we turn to planning and zoning? And Mr. Hannon, we have no residents signed up to speak.
There are no items on our planning and zoning this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Hannon. Are there any additional items? Hearing none, can we turn to health, safety, and welfare? And Mr. O'Brien.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
We have no residents signed up to speak.
We have one item.
Thank you, Mr.
It's
O'Brien.
an appointment, a position of permanent officer, police officer. I move that the permanent employment of Justin Bear be ratified as per the recommendations of Chief Timothy O'Connor.
There is a motion to second that the permanent employment of Justin Bear be ratified as per the recommendation of Police Chief Timothy O'Connor. Any discussion of this item? Mr. Spagnol, would you please call the roll?
Maury,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Colella,
Yes.
Council Magno,
Yes.
Gibbons,
Yes.
Hannon,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
McLean.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Mr. O'Brien.
Mr. Chairman, I have no other items under health, safety, and welfare.
Mr. Mowry, if I may. Thank you.
Yes.
One item that I wanted to mention, and I'll start off by saying this program that I'm about to speak about, it was a program that was running for many years. This is not something that is sponsored by the municipality nor this council. However, this council member feels very passionately about it, and so does my wife. So I'd like to reintroduce to the public the Adopt a Family program that was in place for many years. For about the past 2 years, it hasn't been in place, but both my wife, Pamela, and myself are bringing the program back. Short notice this year, however, we're hoping to adopt and sponsor 10 families, and basically how the program works is if anyone out there knows of a needy family that would need some help with getting Christmas presents for themselves or their children, we find the family that's in need, and then we find a family that's willing to sponsor. The program is completely anonymous. The family that's in need will provide a list. The family that sponsors them is then can then go out and purchase as much or as little as they would like. So if anyone's interested in participating, they could either contact my wife, Pamela Colella, at 412-360-9658, or we'd actually started a official email, and it's adoptafamilysouthhills@outlook.com. That's adoptafamilysouthhills@outlook.com. And I'll just end by saying, those of you that are familiar and maybe have participated, this truly is a wonderful program. So many families in the past have been helped. So we're looking for families in need and those that would be willing to sponsor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Colella. Are there any additional items?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. O'Brien.
I have a story to share. Today I had some business in town, and on my way home on the trolley, as we proceeded through the neighborhoods of the city on our way home towards South Hills Village, a young lady in her early 20s came onto the trolley, and obviously she was not really used to being on a trolley. We can tell people that aren't used to using our trolley system. Unfortunately, she had this beautiful little baby, maybe 6 months or less. She was carrying in an apparatus that looked like it attached to the stroller. She was also pulling a stroller with many large bags, and she seemed very bewildered and somewhat stressed. She settled down in her seat, and that was just about the way it went. As we approached South Hills Village, it was very apparent that she didn't really know exactly where she was, and we all know that's the last stop. So she hurriedly gathered all her things and started to head towards the exit of the trolley. And I stopped to say, "Do you need any help?" Because she obviously was startled by where we were getting off. And she said, "Well, thank you." And then another lady came behind me, a Mrs. Gamitter, and we all know the name Gamitter if you went to high school football games. It seems like they have a never-ending supply of Gamitters. But she also helped. We carried this young lady and helped carry her things to the place where you pay with your Connect card. Obviously, she was unaware that it was Zone 2, and she did not have enough money to pay for her fare. Mrs. Gamitter, myself, and another very remarkable young man stood up and paid her fare and offered her some money. And then we headed out past the box where you pay, and we said, you know, "Where are you going? And do you need a ride?" And she said that my baby needs to get to the doctor's, and it needs to get to the doctor's today. I've never been here. I've never rode a trolley. I don't even know where I'm at. And I said, "Well, how do you know where you're going?" And she says, I'm using my GPS. And we looked and said, "Well, can we give you a," Mrs. Gamitter says, "Can we give you a ride?" And then we noticed that she didn't have a car seat that would be questionable whether we could ride her in the car or not. So Mrs. Gamitter and I started talking about what we could do to help this young lady. She put her baby in the stroller, covered her up, and she took off for Village Drive. She says, "Look, thank you for all your help, but I got to get my baby to the doctor's." Now, if you're aware, we're all aware of where Drake is comparative to Fort Couch Road. She was going to travel down the Village Drive, down Fort Couch Road, and to, I guess there's a doctor's office on the corner of Drake and Fort Couch. So before I was really taken back by this. So Mrs. Gamitter, we went up to get in our cars and we forgot to get our tickets. So we're coming back down and we've seen each other where we're buying our tickets to get out. And I said, "I don't feel right about this." She doesn't either. And I says, "The only person I know to call is Chief O'Connor." So I picked up the phone. I called his office. Janet answered the phone. She says, "The chief is on patrol right now. Let me get a hold of him." Janet calls me back in a few minutes and said he's going to look for her. I contacted the chief in a few more minutes. He said, "I found her. She's in the car. She's going to the doctor's. And we will make sure that she gets back to the T later on." Chief O'Connor, I salute you and your department for taking care of this young lady and her baby in such a time of need. Thank you. I have one issue I'd also like to talk about is last month, and this is what I originally was going to talk about tonight until that great story came about. It was Veterans Day, and the memorial itself is decorated in marine red, so it is beautiful. Come down and see it. I want to talk about the American Legion, since it is Veterans Day. You know, social groups like the American Legion and the VFW have run on very difficult times, and because they're members, they're veterans, they're older, and they're falling away. You know, our mayor, Jack Allen, he's the commander of the American Legion, and he puts a lot of time up there. He works really hard to keep that organization going. And I know when you ride by that old building up on Bethel Church Road, the thing that comes to the mind, it's a bar in the basement. Yeah, there's a bar in the basement. But that place is so much more than just a bar in the basement. They do so much for this community. They help veterans and they supply direction when they're kind of lost. They're the home for the Marine Corps League. They have a fish fry. They help with the Veterans Memorial. They work to promote Americanism and hand out awards in the school for essay contests. They do Poppy Day to help raise money and bring veterans awareness. They have summer picnics for their members. They work with the middle school, recognition at the end of the school year. They have an essay award of 2 essay awards for $500 a year for high school seniors. They also put together the Honor Guard. They put people in that Honor Guard to fund our last farewell to our veterans. They also hold pig roasts. The auxiliary, I'm not allowed to call them ladies' auxiliary anymore. The auxiliary, they volunteer all over the place. The people that you see on Memorial Day for the luncheon, that's the auxiliary volunteering their time to serve food to veterans and people of this community. The luncheon and the Memorial Day, the municipality is involved in that, and we supply half the funding, but they also supply the other half, and they run the whole parade with volunteers. The Legion has its own motorcycle club, and the banner program is also run through great people from the Legion, all the banners that you see along the roads. And the interesting thing about it is that, yeah, it's a bar and a basement, but it offers a lot of things to a lot of people. They have karaoke, they have bingo, they have a family feud. I'm waiting for that. I'm a social member of the American Legion. They have a place to go watch the Steeler game. And they provide a home for so many people, so many veterans that might be alone. They can go and they become their family. They even have vacation trips where they all go, and it's husband and wives and just singles. And then they have countless cases where they help individual veterans who just lost their way. And their donations and their kindness is really very genuine. So I encourage veterans to join the American Legion, and I encourage people just not to ride by the American Legion on Bethel Church Road and think it's a bar in a basement. And if they see the mayor's car there, know he's doing good work for this community and veterans in this community. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. Any additional items? Hearing none, can we turn to Public Works and Maintenance and Ms. Gibbons?
Resolution, PA Small Water and Sewer Grant. I move that we adopt a resolution to apply for grant funds through the Commonwealth Financing Authority for the Library Road Sewer Rehabilitation Project.
Second.
There's a motion and a second that we adopt a resolution to apply for grant funds through the Commonwealth Financing Authority for the Library Road Sewer Rehabilitation Project. Any discussion of this item? Mr. Spagnol, would you please call the roll?
O'Brien,
Yes.
Colella,
Yes.
Council Magno,
Yes.
Gibbons,
Yes.
Hannon,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
McLean,
Yes.
Lowry.
Yes. Motion passes 8-0. Ms. Gibbons?
Agenda items, but I do have one item.
Ms. Gibbons?
I would like, as some of you may know, we've been, there's some improvements in some of our parks in Bethel Park, and I'd like our engineer to kind of give you an overview of what's happening in our parks right now.
Thank you, Mrs. Gibbons. We have been completing a few park projects involving a grant from the state and from the county on 3 of our parks. Village Green Park, we're installing new playground equipment and a new pavilion. This project is nearing completion. We are expecting the play equipment and pavilion to be installed in the next few weeks, which should pretty much complete the improvements, other than a little bit of restoration after that. In Simmons Park, we have installed 2 new pickleball courts. That project is nearing completion. We're just waiting for the nets to be installed. And then in Millennium Park, we've completed a new sport court, basketball court. That is, the only thing we're waiting on for that is the actual sport court surface, which should be installed in the next few weeks as well. The projects are slated to be completed by December 15th. And then after that, they should be able to be used. As you know, once the county comes out and inspects them and gives us the approval for use.
Thank you very much for the update. Are there any additional items? Is there a motion to adjourn? Second. All in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned. Good night, everyone.